Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today for our sustainability webinar. We are delighted today to have you join us and take the time out of your busy schedules. On the call today with me, sorry, I should introduce myself. I'm Anya Murphy. I'm the marketing manager here for Bunzl Cleaning and Safety Supplies. And on the call today with me, I have Diana Geraghty. Diana is our head of sustainability for Bunzl Ireland. And Diana will be taking you through her presentation on the life cycle of a product. I also then have on the call today Miles Thorn from Thorn Environmental. Some of you might be more familiar with the brand Earth to Earth, and Miles is very passionate about the how they look at their carbon footprint within the manufacturing process, and he'll take you through more about that just a little bit later. In terms of administration, just that there is a Q&A facility on the webinar today. If you go to the little bar, the little task bar, you'll see the Q&A there. We are going to hold back the questions until the end of the two presentations, just to keep things flowing as easily as we can. But by all means, come and post in questions at any stage, and I'll hold them back until the very end. And just to get us started, I'm going to start us off with a short video that Diana has selected for us. It's just to kind of position everything for us, and basically just to give other people a bit of a chance as well to join the call. Okay, so thank you very much for your patience, and I'll play that video right now.
I got two jars here with me today. One is made out of glass and one is made out of plastic. When we were designing our new Nivea face care range, we asked ourselves which one is the more environmentally friendly material. So answering that question is not that easy. There are a lot of things to consider, and that's why at Beiersdorf we have chosen Lifecycle Assessments, also called LCA, to look into the environmental impact of our products through every single stage of the product life cycle. We are starting at raw material extraction, production, transport, consumer use, disposal and recycling. We're looking at things like how much energy is being used during production of the jars. How are the jars transported? How far do they travel, and by which mode of transport? And what happens with the packaging at the end of product life? When looking into environmental impact, we are looking into different impact categories. That is greenhouse gases, which go together with climate change potential. We also looked into how much waste is being generated, how much wastewater, and what is their impact on the groundwater and soil. What we found was not exactly what we expected. The plastic jar is more environmentally friendly than the glass jar. We were able to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by 15%, which is a huge saving. And that happened without actually damaging or harming the other environmental impact categories like soil and water. The main reason for this huge saving in greenhouse gas emissions lies actually in the production of the raw material itself, which is that there's far less energy being used to produce plastic that we use rather than the glass. And we could achieve an even greater reduction of greenhouse gas emissions if the consumer chooses to actually recycle the packaging rather than just putting it to the dustbin. So from here on, we're going to use life cycle assessments to identify the hot spots in our products, and that's for our entire product range. And that we will use to work with our research and development to develop more environmentally friendly products, and also to work with our packaging suppliers and raw material suppliers to identify what we can do better. This will help us to achieve our sustainability target of making 50% of our sales with products with reduced environmental impact by 2020. So that's a huge achievement we've made from just 3 little letters. And it's just one more way to show we care.
And good afternoon, you're all very welcome to the Sustainability Workshop, the life cycle of a product. And I think that the video that we've just shared is just a good introduction to some of the considerations when looking at life cycle analysis and I guess the overall sustainability of a product. In my presentation today, I would just like to share briefly the concept of shared value, discuss what life cycle analysis means and really what makes a product or material sustainable or green. I would like to talk about the circular economy, the hierarchy of waste, and finally, sustainability in FM products. So firstly, moving straight into the concept of shared value. Often sustainability and sustainable products are viewed solely in looking at the environmental features of a product. So, you know, are they good for the environment? What is their footprint, etc. But we at Bunzl, with our sustainability strategy, and I think it will resonate right through to, you know, a lot of companies and customers' sustainability strategies, always focus on the shared value of products. You know, do they have a societal impact that's positive? Are they responsible from an environmental point of view? And finally, do they make economic sense? So if we can source products that, for example, are very environmentally friendly, but, you know, have societal risks or are very expensive to bring to market, it's not really a truly sustainable solution. So these are the three factors that we always consider when looking at you know, the sustainability or the footprint of the products that we're sourcing. So then moving into what makes a product environmentally friendly. And I think it's really important in looking at this to take a holistic view of whether a product is eco-friendly or not. There are many factors to consider when looking at that, and I just want to share with you some of the factors that we take into consideration when sourcing products for you. So the first thing we look at is, where is a product made? I think that can be very important in understanding how far it will have to travel to come to us, where it is manufactured, and, you know, what human rights and environmental conditions are in place in that geography. We also look at sustainable certifications. There are many different sustainability certifications for a variety of products. So we really want to decipher ones that we feel are really robust and meaningful, and that we can really trust to demonstrate sustainability and responsible material sourcing. We are increasingly looking for products that are made with renewable resources rather than fossil-based, and we're continuously asking our suppliers more and more questions around how they're manufacturing our products and what sort of energy systems they have in place in the manufacture and also in the transport of our products. The chemical footprint is another factor that's really important, in particular for chemical and cleaning products. And I guess the responsible end of life of the chemicals and, you know, how they are being disposed of in manufacturing facilities is of critical importance in products such as cleaning and chemical products. The water footprint I will be touching on later in this presentation. Again, a very important factor. Water is a very large component of the manufacture of cleaning and chemical products, and various other products such as paper and wood-based products. And we want to also make sure that it has been managed as responsibly as possible. Many other factors we look at are, you know, the end of life, which I will discuss in more detail. It's obviously of critical importance, but nonetheless, I think it's important to be able to share with you the other factors that we also look at. Human rights being a really important one. If there's palm oil in products, to ensure that it is responsibly sourced, although we do try and avoid palm oil where practicable. And finally, looking at having a circular system. So buying products and materials and ingredients that can contribute to a circular economy. Moving on from the factors that we consider, we then look at, you know, I guess, life cycle analysis, and what we're really trying to do is move from a sort of a cradle to grave system to a cradle to cradle system. And we really want to look at all aspects of the supply chain of our products, in particular to see how we can make improvements at every stage of our supply chain so that we can be as carbon efficient, as financially efficient, as energy efficient, as water efficient, and as chemically efficient as we possibly can. And then those savings, of course, are passed on to you. So, you know, I know a lot of customers on the call today probably have your own sustainability reporting that you're doing and are now looking more beyond scope 1 and 2 emissions and looking at your scope 3 and what's happening down your supply chain. And we are there gathering all of this data so that we can in turn share that with you to help you with your reporting. It's also obviously very useful to enable you to look at how you can improve your performance over time. So with our life cycle analysis, we obviously start at the very beginning with looking at materials. Where are they coming from? What type of materials are we using? And then we move into material processing. We then look at the product manufacturing. How is that happening? And touching on a lot of the criteria that I've touched upon in my previous slide. And then we look at the transport footprint, and the transport footprint can be quite a significant one. We have the transport, right from source to material processing, product manufacturing, to our warehouse, and then on to you, the user. So we want to ensure that each of those stages of transport are as efficient as possible. The user and the use piece can also contribute quite significantly to the life cycle of the product. So are you using the product correctly? Are you using the correct dosage of the product? Are you not wasting the product? So team training and really understanding how the products work is really a key part to ensuring that we avoid waste wherever possible. And finally, and very importantly, we look at end of life. Are products widely recyclable and or compostable? And what is a responsible end of life for the products and the packaging that we are sourcing? So moving on from this piece, I just want to move on to really discussing end of life a little bit. So for years and years, I think the reason end of life is such a focus is because for years and years we have been operating a linear economy where we simply bought a product, used it, disposed of it, and nobody really thought any further as to what was happening to that product. We want to move right through to a recycling economy, but right on to a circular economy. And that's really our goal, is to support products and systems that are circular. So for a recyclable product, the cradle to cradle circular life cycle would be the clean dry packaging going to a mixed recycling bin, being transported to a recycling facility, and then at that stage it will either be upcycled into a product of higher value or downcycled into a product of lower value, and then it moves through the chain, and we're really hoping that products will remain in the chain. We're increasingly looking at purchasing products that are made from recycled materials where possible, and to keep this recyclable system moving. Equally, for compostable products, there is a similar circular economy that involves commercial composting and the production of either biogas or fertilizer, and then again continuing the sort of circular economy there. So it's really crucial that, and in particular, I think for our customers, you are the ones that have the products at end of life, and it's really important to try and ensure that you have the responsible solutions in place, that you have the right segregated bins in place, but most importantly that your teams understand where certain products go and how they can contribute to a circular economy. I think also it's really clear that moving product out of general waste bin and into a recycle bin has a huge financial saving too, and I'm sure, like ourselves, a lot of customers are looking at zero waste to landfill initiatives, and ensuring that you're buying products that are recyclable and that they're actually going into the correct bins can really contribute to your performance in that area. Just touching again then, moving from the circular economy to the waste hierarchy and really understanding, where do products sit. So I have a few examples here on, for example, how you can firstly look at reducing the volumes you're buying and the waste. So we, as I mentioned, are looking at products that have less carbon, less water, less chemicals, maybe products that move from ready to use to concentrate to super concentrate. We're looking at dosage systems so that we can support you in reducing waste and reducing unnecessary use of products. And then, of course, reusing and recycling and composting are also, good ways for us to remain circular. And really our goal would be to avoid product going to landfill and really try and stay at the top of this waste hierarchy and not move down too far down the various rungs of the ladder. So now I would just like to, I think, move over to Miles. Miles, I'm sure you will give an introduction yourself on what you're going to share. So Miles, I'll hand over to you.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Diana. Very interesting. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Miles Thorn. I'm the Managing Director of Thorn Environmental. We're brand owners of Earth to Earth. And I'd also like to welcome you all and thank you for joining the webinar. And I'd also like to thank Anya and Diana for actually organising it. Before I do anything else, I'm going to actually move myself out of the screenshot. And I don't know whether you can see it, but you will notice little boats in the middle of the screen, bottom of the middle screen. This is a quay in South Kilkenny, near where I have a home. And every day it's a reminder, when you look at that picture, the actual boats are not in the middle of the river, they are actually at the end of a road on the quay. So this acts for me as a daily reminder that global warming is happening now. We see the impacts of it on a daily basis. That's just one of them. So swiftly moving on, I'd like to go on to the first slide. Okay, so Thorn Environmental is a family company with 2 generations currently involved in running the business. We are manufacturers and we are brand owners of Earth to Earth. Back in 1997, inspired by Agenda 21, which is now called Agenda 30, and what was then Europe's 5th environmental action programme called Towards Sustainability, we changed direction from being a normal manufacturer and seller of plastic bags to concentrate on environmentally friendly products. And we began producing them in 1998. We started with our Earth to Earth range of degradable bags and later moved into compostable sacks. 3 years ago, our focus changed, and I'll address why in a moment. We currently manufacture refuse sacks, bin liners, carton liners, and packaging films. We recently started to manufacture PE, i.e. aprons and gloves. All of these products we produce in bio-based, compostable, low carbon, and recycled materials. If we can move on to the next slide. Okay. So the core principles of Earth to Earth. For us, there was one pivotal point in changing our environmental focus. And it was while doing environmental scanning, we came across a report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. They had produced figures showing that there is an excess of 550 billion tons. Yeah, 550 billion tons of carbon in the atmosphere, and that we are fast approaching a tipping point. For us, this was a game changer and led to us being obsessed with carbon reduction. Our core product values or principles act as a guideline to ensure that we as a company do everything we can to reduce our carbon footprint and to provide products to ensure that others can too. Okay, negative carbon footprint or largest possible reduction. What does this actually mean? Well, a negative carbon footprint is quite simple. It's when you absorb more carbon than you actually produce. So a tree has a negative carbon footprint because quite obviously it absorbs carbon and produces oxygen. Now, again, we were looking at the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change because they had calculated that to fulfill the commitments of the Paris Agreement, which is to halt climate warming to 1.5 degrees by mid-century, we must be net zero by then, and that negative emissions will most certainly be needed. Recent studies concluded that about 11 billion tons of carbon dioxide may need to be sucked out of the air each year to keep global warming below the previously agreed 2-degree target. Greater amounts again would be required to meet the Paris Agreement 1.5-degree target. Moving on to material reduction through technology. This can basically be broken down into 2 sections, mechanical and material. Mechanically, as a company, we adopt the latest extrusion technologies such as multi-layer extruders to ensure we can use the least amount of material for a given strength. We all know that many layers are better than one. This can clearly be seen in products like plywood in the construction industry that give phenomenal strength by combining different layers. It's not different to what we do. Material developments such as bimodal resins ensure that even more strength per kilogram of material is available. Superior performance. For new and innovative products, we don't benchmark against our competitors. We evaluate what is required in the industrial and commercial markets that we serve and provide them with the best product for their needs. Later on in the presentation, when we move on to our compostable slide, I'll give you an example of what I mean. We do, however, aim to be the best at what we do and provide superior features and benefits than competitors across all products. As a business, we don't use cheap additives such as calcium carbonate and other fillers that allow manufacturers to meet specifications at a lower cost, but have a detrimental impact on performance. Sustainable and renewable. For our bio-based products and our PLA-based compostable products, we look to companies that produce the most sustainable resins. Plant-based resins provide an ideal solution to help us decarbonize our products. In our bio-based slide, I'll go into more detail on this. Verifiable, certified, and regulated. Following on from Diana's point about choosing companies who certify and so on, we believe that a brand like ours must be trusted 100%. We cannot and will not be involved in greenwashing. We see far too many examples of this. Supermarkets claiming their compostable bags are plastic-free, to retailers using paper bags that have extremely high carbon footprints, and again promoting the point they are plastic-free. We need to use the most appropriate packaging products from both an environmental and carbon perspective. Sometimes this might be paper, or plastic, or glass, and compostable materials. It all depends on the use and the end of life. We need to be open and honest and debate all these issues without prejudice. But to be clear, compostable products or bio-based products are not plastic-free. Compostable products contain PBAT or modified copolyester. This is a polymer, and a polymer is a plastic. Our industrial and commercial customers, we believe, are sophisticated, particularly now, and they are discerning in the choices that they make. We need for them to be confident in the products that we produce. This is why our bio-based products are certified for bio-based content by TÜV and for the carbon footprint by the Carbon Trust. We do not use carbon offsetting, as we believe this to be an easy and fast way out. Carbon offsetting does not encourage innovation, as innovation is far more expensive than simply offsetting. Our products need to stand on their own credentials without any carbon offsetting. Our compostable products are certified to many different standards, including EN 13432, by both OK Compost and the Seedling logo for Europe, as well as many other international standards. In all cases, our products are regulated by TÜV, who carry out regular audits. Over the next couple of slides, we can see how carbon reduction can be achieved in different ways using different products. And we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, bio-based carbon captured. We choose to refer to our bio-based carbon as carbon captured because they have absorbed more carbon in the growing phase than they have consumed in the manufacturing and distribution phase. The material we use has a certified carbon footprint of minus 3.09 kilos per kilo. Our aim was to produce a sack with a 20 kg drop weight to the European standard EN 13592, which is an extra heavy duty product, and have a negative carbon footprint. To achieve the drop weight required at an affordable price, we needed to add some higher performance resins. So what we did was we added approximately 20% bimodal in our formulation, but we used a recycled resin from our own production. This ensures that we meet the 20 kg target at an acceptable price point and remain carbon negative. The carbon analysis undertaken by the Carbon Trust includes all inbound, manufacturing and outbound shipping to our distribution centre in Ireland, plus delivery to an address in Lucan, and was measured at minus 0.2 of a kilo per kilo. This means that for every ton of product we supply, we are extracting 200 kilograms of carbon. Now, on this, if anyone wants to have a carbon comparison done between their existing plastic products and our bio-based products, if you contact Anya, who sent out the invitations, she'll be more than happy to put you in touch, and we can arrange to do that for you. Okay, 3 layers, more strength, less material. We've covered this a little bit, but coming back to the 20 kilogram drop test, I'd better explain it. A drop test is where a sack is filled with cotton bags containing 1 to 2 kilograms of plastic resin each. In this case, a total of 20 kilograms of resin. You then expel the air and tie off the bag. The sack is then dropped onto a hard surface such as a concrete floor from a height of 1.2 meters. And if it survives with no tears or only very small defects, it passes the European standard EN 13592. We tend to be a little bit more cautious, and instead of using 1.2 meters, we actually increase it and we drop from 1.5. We have managed to reduce the thickness of this bio-based product from 15 micron, to 15 micron. Our previous equivalent multi-layer range of products was 18 micron. Over the last 30 years, we have gone from a standard black bag requiring 60, that's 60 micron, to achieve a drop weight of 20 kilograms, down to our bio-based bag at 15 micron. That's 1/4 of the original thickness to produce the same strength. Sustainable and renewable. The ethanol used to produce polyethylene in our bio-based sacks and liners is made from sugarcane and not from fossil fuels. The sugarcane tends to be grown in areas that are not suitable for traditional crops. The whole plant is actually utilized. The ethanol goes to either fuel or plastic production, and the remaining plant is used for gas, and anything left over is then used to actually generate electricity. So once that season is over, it starts growing and the cycle starts all over again. So we would see this as the ultimate in a sustainable product. Recyclable with normal polyethylene. Bio-based materials are sometimes confused with biodegradable materials. They can be both, but in this particular case, we decided we did not want this product to be biodegradable. We wanted to ensure that the carbon remained stored within the product. Since our bio-based polythene is made from ethanol from sugarcane, the only difference between it and a fossil fuel-based polyethylene is the source of the ethanol. And the only way to tell the difference is actually by radiocarbon dating. So then you can see that the product is 100% recyclable with normal polyethylene, and this is the most desired method of disposal. Recycling along with normal polyethylene ensures an even lower carbon footprint for the products that are made from that particular recyclate. Certification. Since we've already covered this in the first slide, I won't go into too much detail. One important point, though, is the regulated aspect of our certification. TUV can audit and check our products by sending off random samples to America for radiocarbon dating. Thankfully, this helps to keep everyone in the bio-based business transparent and honest, and we consider certification a valuable and essential contribution to authenticity. Okay, in the next slide, we will look at our compostable products. So if we can, yeah. Okay, clearly superior compostable. Our compostable bags are an industrial quality product aimed primarily at commercial kitchens for the collection of food waste. They are a perfect example of what we would call a functional plastic, designed to break down in a composting environment. More recently, we have developed our films for use in food production companies as liners and packaging. We also manufacture produce and meat bags for supermarkets and delis, and our new compostable gloves are proving very popular for food services, including delis and sandwich bars and so on. Logically, all of these items end up being contaminated by food, and therefore the food waste bin is the ideal route for disposal. Compostable products are designed to be used in this environment. They are not normally recommended for use as a refuse sack, or a recycling sack, as they are not compatible with plastic recycling streams. When used correctly, they are an amazing solution, breaking down to CO2, water, and humus. The carbon, water, and humus is sequestered into the resulting compost and is ultimately usable as an organic fertilizer. In an anaerobic digestion system, any gases produced can go to produce electricity. So compostable products can be yet another tool in the armory of carbon warriors. Food waste that goes to landfill results in methane being released into the atmosphere, and methane is far worse for global warming than carbon. Participating in composting schemes is an ideal way of reducing your carbon footprint. This product of ours is ideal for commercial kitchens, and unlike traditional compost bags, we use a unique blend. Part of that includes PLA rather than starch. While this is a bit more expensive, it provides our formulation with several unique properties. The products that we produce are highly water resistant and have a heat distortion point of 75 degrees centigrade. This means that hot foods and liquids are absolutely no problem. Starch-based products conversely quickly deteriorate, and they can be an attraction for flies, not something that you want in commercial kitchens. Superior anaerobic digestive performance. Okay, this is research that we've done ourselves using trials and so on, and we have conducted, these are ideal for anaerobic conditions and according to our customers perform exceptionally well. Multi-layer, more strength, less material. Consistent with our other products and our desire to get the maximum strength for our raw materials, our multi-layer compostable film significantly reduces material usage. We produce our bags to be able to carry food waste, which weighs approximately ½ kilo per litre. This is exceptionally heavy for food waste stream. Even some of our smaller and lighter bags are designed to carry a minimum of 20 kilograms of food waste. On a lighter note, and just to finish up, I'd like to tell you a little bit of a story that when we were doing our research for this, we were talking to a lot of kitchen owners and so on, and one of the issues that came up over and over again was kitchen security. Apparently, the easiest way of taking products such as choice cuts of meat and other things and recovering them later is to put them in the food waste bins. So we were asked, could we produce a clearer film? And we adjusted our formulation to do that. I don't know if it cured the problem, but we haven't had any complaints since. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll now hand you back to Diana.
Thank you very much, Miles. I know we're just gone a little bit over time, but I hope that you can bear with us just for a few more minutes, because I really wanted to finish by really looking at, what can you do around sustainability in cleaning and chemical products, and I guess just an overview of the areas that we're looking at. So we're looking at plastic and product reduction. So how can we help you to be at that top of the waste hierarchy in reducing both your product and your waste? So ideas there would be to move from ready to use to concentrate to super concentrate where possible. Also, innovations like wall mounted dispensers and smart systems can help the user to use less, which is a really good way to reduce the volume of product that we have. We're also looking at hazardous chemicals and eco-based products for to roll those out even more. There seems to be great interest in them. Water is a big area in which reductions can be made by buying products where water is only inserted at point of use. So there's a significant water saving throughout, from manufacturing right through the supply chain, but in particular the lightweighting of the transport footprint if water is added later is really significant, and it also means that you're only using the amount of water that you require when you're actually using the product. So it's another really good way to become more sustainable. And finally, looking at responsible sourcing, as I think I've pointed out throughout this presentation, it really is at the core of what we're looking at when we're supplying products, really to make cleaning solutions that are accessible and sustainable. as this is quite a brief snapshot, 30 minutes of, you know, sustainability in this area, there are obviously many other factors and other, you know, and more that we could say on each of these issues. So if anybody would have any specific questions following this workshop, please don't hesitate to get in touch. So if anybody has any questions, please post them in the Q&A area and we can answer them. And I think, Anya, you said you may have got a few questions by email prior to the presentation.
Yes, I did indeed. We've run a little bit over on time there, so there's just one question, Diana, that I'll direct to you that came in earlier by email, and that is the question that are eco products as good quality as ordinary products or as other products?
Thanks, Anya, and thank you to whoever asked that, because that's actually a really good question. So often there's a misconception that eco products don't function as well as regular cleaning products, or that you need to use more of them, so therefore they're not very cost effective. And the reality is that all of those issues are myths. The products do function as well as regular products, and it is important that the user again understands how to use the product, that they do not need to use more of the product because it's made from an eco formulation. So I think again, please get in touch with us if you want more information on eco products and really how to use them correctly and responsibly, because we're constantly trying to help you to hit all of those waste reduction, water reduction and chemical reduction targets, and you know, eco products are a really good way to do that. So thank you for that question.
Thank you for that, Diana. Okay, so we have gone over by a good bit, so I'm going to end proceedings there, saying a big thank you to both Diana and to Miles, our presenters today. We hope that you enjoyed the session. We do intend to bring you more of the webinars like this in the future. As Diana mentioned, by all means, if you have any questions after the fact, get in touch, and I will, you know, direct those questions to either Miles or to Diana, whomever it is that you have the question for. And by all means, keep an eye on your email, because we will be sending out notifications of more events to come. Thank you very much for joining us today. We do appreciate that you've taken the time. Thanks a million. Bye from us.